Surrender, safety, bang bang. Whatever you may call it, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about and are already typing a lengthy rant about how it's either necessary for safety or the bane of airsofters everywhere. However you may feel about safety kills, I ask you to continue watching the rest of this video. Many believe that it would be better to just do away with safety kills altogether, but I plan to argue a new implementation of the rule that I believe should be universally adopted, as well as explain why I believe the safety kill is the most improperly utilized rule in all of Airsoft. To start, just in case there is anyone either new to the sport or is simply confused about what I mean exactly by safety kill, I want to review the rule, how it's typically used, and how I would change the rule to make it worth keeping. While there are many ways that fields around the United States have implemented the safety kill rule, most are variations of two primary methods of implementation. If your home field is doing something different, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear how other fields are tackling safety kills. For my experiences both on the field and interacting with others online in the larger Airsoft community, the most common way the safety kill rule is used is when an MED, or minimum engagement distance, is established at a field. For example, if a field establishes an MED of 10 feet, a player is not allowed to shoot another player unless they are at least 10 feet away. In this example, safety kills would be implemented to cover that MED so players can still eliminate the other team if they are within 10 feet of each other. In this case, safety kills would be mandatory to accept as there is no other form of elimination allowed within that range, with the possible exception of melee kills, which would require a harmless fake weapon. While this rule seems well-intentioned and often is put in place with safety in mind, it is often abused by players who are too cowardly to risk getting shot or are all too keen on arguing, well, technically, to get what they want. What often ends up happening is players will start to run around, especially going around corners or through doors, yelling, "Safety, safety," or "Bang, bang," blindly just hoping to get as many kills as possible without risking getting shot. If, off of technicality, a safety kill within the MED has to be called at all times, spamming the kill word at the top of your lungs going around corners or into rooms is an inevitability. If a rule can be exploited, people are going to exploit it. This can also lead to players trying to safety kill others outside of the established MED, which can happen either out of ignorance or the inability to tell distances without measuring, or it could even be done in an attempt to get a kill without getting close to the enemy player. This behavior of rule abuse is incredibly toxic and has been the instigating factor for many fights on the airsoft field. I'm sure a lot of you can think back to some of those viral fights and flip-out videos where players running around yelling "bang bang" is an instigating factor in some of those instances. It single-handedly works to kill the morale of players and increases the chances of them leaving early or not returning to the field at all in the future. This level of detriment to the airsoft community is part of why I believe the rule needs to be changed. The other widely used method of implementing safety kills is often used at fields that do not have an established MED. In this ruling, safety kills are entirely optional. They are not enforced by staff, and it is up to the discretion of the player being safety killed to decide if he or she will accept it or not. This is the ruling that I have personally seen at a lot of my local fields that don't have MEDs, and it's personally my preferred method for safety kills among the two popular options. Under this ruling, it is entirely up to the players that show up that day on whether or not a safety kill is accepted, and is even more so decided on an individual basis. While this eliminates the safety spamming issue that the first method allows, there is still some issues that can come up on the field because of it. The primary issue that arises from not enforcing safety kills come from players who opt to use safety kills as a mercy kill. There are a lot of players that find themselves in a position to shoot an enemy up close, but choose to attempt a safety kill instead. Now, this could either be to avoid potentially shooting a soft spot and inflicting unnecessary pain to that player, or to avoid the potential of both players being eliminated in a 50-50 scenario. While one of these two rationales does come from a respectful place, it can quickly become a point of contention as there is no rule enforcing that method of elimination. Players in 50-50 scenarios who get safety killed can opt to shoot as a response, as they have no obligation to accept the safety kill. And players who get outplayed can be petty and shoot the other player under the guise of, technically I don't have to call it. And looking at the rules, they'd be right. This can cause players to walk back to spawn feeling salty at best, and start a fight at worst. And realistically, players are going to go from doing safety kills out of caution to overshooting to never have that scenario happen again. Looking at these two methods and their issues, contention from safety kills seems to come from the rules allowing it to either be spammed or ignored entirely, and I believe that I have a solution that can meet in the middle and satisfy both situations. The way I personally view safety kills, and believe the way that they should be implemented in the future, is to see it as a courtesy kill if you have the drop on someone. For example, if I were to turn a corner and find an enemy player with his gun down, facing away from me, or both, I could safety kill him from a close distance or tap my barrel on or against them, and go about my way. To clarify, if I am in a position where I have the drop on an enemy player and there is no way they could shoot me before I could shoot them, I believe a safety kill can and should be taken. At that point, it just saves you a BB. Unless you have the drop on someone, safety kills should never be used. In situations where an MED is in place, fields should be incorporating melee kills, with actual fake weapons, not just a player's hand, and not allow safety kills in situations other than the one described above. So, to recap, safety kills should be implemented in the following manner. If a field has no MED, safety kills are mandatory to take, but you can only use them if a player has a clear drop on an enemy player where there is no possible argument that the encounter was a 50-50 situation. Melee kill rules are optional, as players can shoot or be shot from any distance, so they're not necessary. If a field has an MED, there should be an implemented melee kill rule to provide an in-MED elimination option available to all players. Otherwise, safety kills are mandatory to take, but similar to above, they can only be used if a player has a clear drop on an enemy player where there is no possible argument that the encounter was a 50-50 situation. In order to encourage melee kills instead of safety kills, the fields could also sell rubber knives or things of that nature to serve as their melee weapons. I believe that the key to making this new ruling successful is a widespread universal adaptation of it. If every field is this explicit about safety kills, and there's no variation between fields that you play at for what's allowed and what's not, the general community's understanding of safety kills will shift from the old anything goes depending on where you're playing to safety kills can only be done this way. If that established understanding can be made across the entire community, safety kills could become something like an execution in Call of Duty, an earned bragging opportunity if you get the drop on someone, and something you actively strive to not be on the receiving end of. This would drastically reduce the potential of arguments and confrontations over safety kills, and could change the safety kill from a problematic rule into one that uplifts players and grants bragging rights if you can successfully pull one off. Increasing the requirements a situation needs to satisfy to allow for a safety kill to take place will allow them to be mandatory without the risk of them getting spammed and becoming problematic. Now, that's my take on how I think the safety kill rule should be changed and implemented across all fields. But something you may think of is, hey, what's going to happen if a ref doesn't see it and it's just a he said, she said? Well, to that point, I'd say that's the same logic as not calling a hit because no one saw you get hit. Just because there's a chance to exploit it doesn't mean that it's not a good idea that should be implemented. Because with that logic, no one will be calling hits if a ref isn't directly in front of them to see it happen. I'm thinking about doing this kind of video more often, where I have a topic that I want to talk about, and I just record myself talking about it with B-roll going on in the background. If you guys do like this and want to hear my opinion on other things, or just recap articles that I've already written or videos I've already made in this style, please let me know. I had fun making this, and I'm definitely going to be making more, but if there are certain topics that you guys would like covered in this style, definitely share it with me, because the more information I can get from you guys on what you want to see, the better these videos will turn out. But with that being said, that's going to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.